This episode of World Talk contains mature themes for mature audiences only. The opinions expressed by the guest and host are our own and don't represent any business or organization. Hello and welcome to World Talk, a show where we talk about everything and anything world-related. Today I'm joined by a very special guest, Gigi Maduq, who is a political commentator and content creator from Cuba. Gigi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Gigi, we start the show off every way the same way, which is tell us where you're from and describe Cuba in 3 words.
Cuba or myself?
Cuba.
Oh, Cuba.
We'll get into you later.
Okay. Okay, so I am from Cuba, and Cuba can be described as a beautiful country which has lost their force and their beauty because of a social movement which eradicates all the freedom from their people 65 years ago. So it's an island, a group of islands with a really ingenious people who work hard, but they don't have the rights or possibilities or opportunities to growth in the society.
And that's because of the
socialism, communism left, yes.
Let's talk about your upbringing under socialist rule, and this is under Fidel Castro. So what was that like for you? Could you explain, let's start with what was education like for you getting into the school system?
The school is free. The educational system, you don't need to pay for education, but you paid at the end of the day. Doing the men, for example, need to do the military service, which is an obligation, and at the end of your career, if, for example, I studied at the University of Havana, so you need to do 2 years after of public service, so you need to work for the state to preserve your title, your degree.
Okay.
So that's how you pay your free education
by
to the
working,
country.
By
working for the state for 2 years after you finish. And then, it's free, but I don't even call it education. It's an indoctrination system.
Interesting. If you could explain what do you mean by that?
So we start going to school at 5 years old, right? Every day when you go to school, you need to say, the students for the communism, we will be like Che Guevara. That is for 10 years in your life. So you start being more than a student who want to learn about math, Spanish, or history. You become a soldier. You become a communist warrior.
Ooh.
Because that's one of the things that Castro always said in his long speeches on television that everyone hate. He talked every day about the cultural battle and the ideas battle. So we need to be soldiers of that ideological cultural fight that we were going through, because he started realizing that the way he got into the power, who was by the arms, by the army, by the fight.
Overthrowing Batista.
Over Batista, yes.
And that was 1959.
59, yeah. So the way he got the power was by force. So he realized that in this moment, in the 90s, the 2000s, that way wasn't effective anymore. So you needed to get to the power by the democratic way of the elections, in a democratic process, and then when you get in power, you would never give it away anymore. That's what happened in Venezuela.
That's what happened in Venezuela as well with
Chavez.
With Chavez, yes, because he too, I believe, he forced the election. It didn't happen naturally, or it didn't happen in its cycle.
Okay, let's talk. We're talking.
Oh,
Venezuela.
let's go back to Cuba.
Go back to Cuba,
but
because Venezuela has their own their own moment.
but there are links between the Cuban struggle and the Venezuelan struggle.
Oh yeah, no, the Venezuelan struggle.
Which we will.
We have. I kind of feel the blame on us, on Cuba.
Really?
Yeah, the Cuban government has infiltrated and penetrated every of the army. Venezuela actually lost their sovereignty. Is the word sovereignty?
Yeah.
The national sovereignty, they lost it by the Cuban regime. Like the decisions in Venezuela, most of the times has been taken by the Havana government.
Before we get into Cuba's influence in the Latin American and Caribbean region, let's talk about your experiences growing up in Cuba and how you ended up leaving Cuba and and I guess in a way freeing yourself mentally from the indoctrination of the state. So when you were in school from 5 years old to when do you graduate, around 14, 15, or
you start at 5, then is the primary school, elementary school till 12. Then is the secondary, which is till 15, 16. Then is the high school, or the moment before the university, which is 3 years.
Yes.
It's 16 till 90 or 18.
So
and then the university, or if you don't go to the university, you go to other kind of institution. Or you finish just at 18 years the high school.
Okay. One thing that people will say about Cuba is Cuba has one of the highest literacy rates in the Caribbean, and we should, model Cuba's education system, model Cuba's healthcare system.
Yeah, but let me...
what do you have to say about these claims?
Let's say that the speech that... or the words behind all of this is that before Castro, no one in Cuba read or something like that. That's what they're saying. That before Castro, we were like poor. There was a lot of poor people that they didn't know how to read.
Right.
Right? Okay. There is a lot of facts and published articles that prove that before Castro, Cuba actually was one of the, in the historic context, imagine Latin America before the 60s, with all the countries were involved in dictatorships, and even the racism was everywhere. So in that context, Cuba was one of the the highest educated populations in Hispanoamerica.
Right. I understand. Because of the instability of these regions.
Of course.
Cuba looked great.
Cuba looked great compared to Honduras, Nicaragua, Brazil, Chile, a lot of countries.
Yes, and just to give context, this is before the Castro Revolution, which was 1959.
This is, we can say, our Republican history, which is from the beginning of 20th century, 1919.
Yes.
1902 was the first presidential election, or the first time that we have a president elect in the country in 1902. until the 58.
Yes.
So it was like 50 years of democracy.
Of democracy.
And a huge increasing of everything, of the economy, diversity of parties. We take immigrants from Spain that they were running from
What's it, Franco?
From Franco. So even today there is a lot of Cubans that we take the Spanish citizenship because we had a lot of immigrants coming before the revolution and from, of course, the moment that we were part of Spain. But
one thing I just realized, especially in 1959, I mean, you're looking at World War II. So you were, even globally, there was this rise of authoritarian leaders in Germany, in Italy, Franco, and all these people. And then even...
And we were doing fine.
And you guys were doing fine. And even in the Latin American region, you had political instability in like Guatemala and things. So that's why Cuba's literacy rate was so high, because you're comparing it...
We're comparing in time. And moment, and then with our peers in the region.
When they were going through turmoil. So it's not like you guys were all equal booming successfully. They were having instability.
In Cuba?
No, in the region.
Yeah, in the region, instability, and we were actually like with the hotels with AC, like the first in almost the world, or I mean Hispanic America.
Did you watch Godfather 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the mafia.
Yeah, I'm not as much as they were, but like even like American business interests were in Cuba. Like Cuba seemed to be a great place back then.
It was a great place with everything. The people, smart people, hardworking people, with values, with honesty, with everything, beautiful. Ladies, everything was, I mean, you cannot say that it was a perfect society, that there weren't problems, of course.
But it's not
it's not like we were a part of United States, and that we were the prostitute of the United States. That's wrong. Right. It's the country leads to a level of prosperity that actually now everyone wants to go back. Everyone in Cuba, my grandma is 82. 82.
Young lady.
Yeah. So...
She remembers.
Sometimes, she was
days.
17 when the revolution triumphed. So she sometimes, because I'm from Havana, but
the capital,
but it's a town which is called La Lisa, is the western Havana. So to go to the center is like maybe 20, 25, 30 minutes. So my grandma is like retired, everything. She was a teacher. And when she goes to Havana, the city, old Havana, she cries.
Ooh, how come?
Because old Havana for her was the goal, the shine. She goes there when she saves money to go to this beautiful store and buy this beautiful dress and these beautiful shoes, because there was everything. We had stores with Chanel and Dior and normal. I mean, very advanced for the Latino American tradition. Yeah. So she used to go to Old Havana just to walk through, to see the buildings, the prosperity, the lights. And when she goes now, she cannot believe she is in disbelief of what happened to her country.
And did she tell you what that change was like? Because she was what, about 17?
Yeah.
You said during the
she's
during
from
the revolution.
the 1942, so it's
Yeah, and
59. 17.
so what was that like? Did she ever tell you stories about like being a teenager when
No, the
Cuba was
stories
prosperity?
about her before are that she eats everything that she wanted to. She
Chicken.
loves desserts. So she's like a very sugar person.
Sweet tooth.
Seeds, yeah. So she's like, oh, before I have this malteada, and these cookies, and like 1 cent, you could buy everything. And I saved to go to Old Havana, and then you have also public education. That's other thing that they liked about that in Cuba. Everyone need before the revolution, the education was so expensive that's why everyone was not reading
not
or
literate.
not illiterate. Yeah.
And would you say, to what you were saying earlier, these are one of the lies that were told?
One of the lies, because my grandma went to a public school. So she didn't pay for her education at the beginning. So that's what she remembered. She remembered Batista. She said that she heard about people, rebellions or communists or socialists, but very far from her. And that her father actually, yes, was involved. Not involved, but he liked Castro.
He was a sympathizer.
Sympathizer. That's a real thing that a lot of people, like, it was like a project that everyone believed in. Most of the people believe in Castro and in his ideas, but because he never said that he was a communist.
Right, he never put a label on it. Just like, wouldn't it be nice if we all had like land and
He promised the dream. He promised the dream, everyone is gonna be, there is not gonna be rich people anymore because the poor people is so oppressed, and this is because of the rich, and everyone is going to have the same opportunity, equality, and we are going to defeat because U.S. is very important. He hates
Castro
U.S. till
hated
the end
the U.S.
So we're going to fight you. He put the people in a fight with the U.S. that we never had and that we never wanted.
Was that the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Every day he used to talk about against the U.S.
Yeah.
It's like it's the essence of his speech. Is U.S. is the guilty of everything.
And back then, U.S. I don't know much, but U.S. did have influence in the business in Cuba. So did Castro just want? I guess it was his dream Cuba for Cubans. Cubans for Cuba, like no foreigners coming in here and exploiting our land and things like that.
But this is a thing. Why you don't want foreign investment in your country?
I think personally, I think it's a good thing.
It's a great thing. It's a great thing when it's regulated by the state or by the state that can facilitate the commerce. But for this guy, he didn't want any investment from anyone, just for the communist side, but either for the Cuban. So the nationalization law came in the early 60s. and he started taking everything.
And this is after he overthrew Batista.
Yeah, in the 59. So he said, okay, so this, I don't know, the TV station is from the state.
So
not paying anything to get the expropriation.
Yeah.
Don't give in anything to the owners.
No more private corporations.
No more private corporation. No more private nothing. But this not just the big corporation. It's that he went to this block and someone have a small business, a little store or a little I don't know.
Yeah, just like
hair salon.
Yeah.
It's not yours.
Oh my goodness! Even everybody.
Nothing.
He took everybody.
Everyone.
Jeez.
Everyone. So that's the destruction of the society. You took everything.
All at once.
All. You just need to work for the state.
Do you have any stories that your grandmother would tell you about that time? Because she grew up seeing Old Havana in its prosperity, and could get the sweets for a cent. Yeah. But what was that like for her, that transition?
The transition was like, so she did we call it the alphabetization. We call it the lecture movement, like to teach how to read to everyone.
Like literacy
movement,
okay,
or campaign, literacy campaign,
a literacy campaign.
Yes. So she was part of that. So she went from Havana to the countryside
to help people
to teach how to read and how to write and everything. So she was part of that process, and then she started being a teacher in the school. There was no any more public and private in the schools. It was just the school. So she started being a teacher there, and she actually spent her whole life working really hard, really hard, and she worked so hard that I think she didn't realize many things that were going on, because she started in Cuba. We have this the schools were in the countryside. So even if you are from Havana, you needed to go to do this high school. You needed to go to a countryside because you need to study and work. So you need to study, but also do like this agriculture work. Put potatoes and
learn
everything.
How to farm.
Yeah, farm everything for the state, because this is a union.
Right.
This is the dream.
Yeah, because communism and socialism, they always talked about like collectivism. Like we are together as one.
We are together as one. So everyone is working for this.
Everyone is working for each other.
Everyone is working for each other, and there is no other option. The other option is to be against that, and to be against that is not to be a Cuban anymore. That's how far it went.
And would you say that was the start of the indoctrination?
That is the start of the system of the socialist, the communist system. That is the essence.
So they've started to like divide the society. You're either with us.
That's the key of socialism or communism, which for me is the same thing. The key is, first of all, is to eradicate the private property. Right. That's not existing. This is the state property.
State owns everything.
And the state is you.
Yeah.
The state is everyone. So, and then the class struggle or the class fight is always a fight. There is always a fight in socialism. They are not quiet.
No.
There's always a chaos. There's always a fight. So you are fighting. First, we are fighting against U.S. because we were the oppressed and they were the other part. Then you have the fight between rich and poor. I mean, the rich people that remained there, it was like in the 60s at the beginning, a lot of people that have money,
Yeah.
corporation or enterprises or business.
Because Cuba was
Because
thriving.
Cuba was thriving, a great economy by that moment, right? So the rich against the poor, the communists against the one that they were start calling us. I'm proudly part of them. The worms.
The
worms.
What a derogatory term.
Yeah, that's how the communists call the people who doesn't believe in communism in Cuba.
They call them worms.
The worms.
Do they say anything like, we're going to step on the worms?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, no. You are not Cuban. You need to leave. Like, get out of here. Like, we don't want you. We don't need you. That's what Fidel his speeches were. So the people who is not with the revolution, we don't want you. We don't need you. So you can go, or you can be in jail, or you can disappear. You are a worm.
That's so dehumanizing.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah. So but the thing, this is the part of this chaos that I'm saying. So it's the communists against the
everybody.
worms against. Yeah, but at that moment it wasn't everyone. It's certain that a lot of people, even not communists, even just, we can say now, from Democrats or from the left, they believe in that movement, and they even fight, because the fight was about, at the beginning, to establish again the Constitution from 1940, which was one of the best constitutions by the moment, also in not only Latin America, even Spain included. We say the term Hispanic America. No?
Yeah, I understand. You can say Hispanic American, Latin America.
Yeah. But Hispanic, everyone like kind of understand that when we say Hispanic America includes Spain.
All right.
Right?
Yeah, that's...
So, what I was saying.
You had a great constitution in the 40s.
The great constitution in the 40s. So that constitution where they said that Batista put it apart.
They say the communists say he took it apart.
Yeah, took it apart in the 52 when he got in power by army impeachment, or I don't know how do you say it?
He was impeached?
No.
Wait, which year?
No, it's not. How I said the word. The golpe. It's un golpe de estado.
My Spanish.
It's like a state. It's like a state. Can we stop? I can look for it.
Yeah, if you want to. Hold on, let me.
Yeah.
What information? Yeah. What do you need looked up? You
when the military take the government.
Oh, like a coup, like when they overthrow a government, like a military coup.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
That. So.
He got in from a military coup.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Batista in the 52.
In the 52.
Yeah.
So that's how he got into power.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we had a lot of things were going politically really unstable before the 50s, like in the 46, 47, 50s. So it was a lot of communist penetration. So Batista was a real renowned military. Okay. And he made a coalition, and he did the military coup.
And he did a military coup to get Cuba away from the communists. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But they say, of course, that they were saying that it wasn't constitutional.
It wasn't constitutional.
Yeah.
When.
So the fight was about getting back the constitutional order that Batista put down. Mm-hmm. That's what people fight for. That's what people fight for with Castro. It wasn't about communism, socialism.
So that's what Castro's pitch was to the people.
Yeah,
That Batista.
I'm gonna the constitution will get back here, and we will be distribute the rich is gonna be more
You're gonna distribute
the wealth.
Yes.
And that was it.
That was. Is it because Batista had a military coup to take power from the communists? Is that where, I guess, communist sympathizers came from, thinking, "Hey, this wasn't unfair. That this man overthrew the government. We need to take it back." Because you were saying your
but the government wasn't communist, in the 50s or 40s. Batista didn't make that to a communist government.
No, he seemed to be very pro business.
Yeah.
Pro making money.
Yeah,
just
I'm pro-Cuban.
I'm pro-Cuban because like we said.
And that's why U.S. also helped Castro, because Batista started being like a heretic for U.S.
Interesting.
So Fidel Castro was helped by the U.S. to get in power, and by the rich people in Cuba.
Mm-hmm. It's just so funny. Like I read one thing, right, about how Castro wanted to overthrow Batista because of Batista was, this is what I've read, that he was a puppet for the Americans and allowed American business to go in there and exploit Cuba and do nothing for the Cubans. Mm-hmm. And then you hear about, Castro was such an enemy of the Cuban people, such an enemy of the United States, that the Americans wanted to invade Cuba with the Bay of Pigs.
We are waiting the invasion.
The Bay of Pigs invasion, but not just the Bay of Pigs invasions.
The Bay of Pigs invasion, it wasn't U.S. It was a few Cubans.
Yeah.
Who wanted to try it in a way to get back the fight that was supposed to be, and they asked for help from Kennedy.
Yeah.
And Kennedy say, "Oh yes, go. I will help you."
And it didn't really work out that way.
Yeah.
But even after the Bay of Pigs failed invasion, which actually boosted Castro, there were
because he started saying that he defeated imperialism.
But they actually came and he defeated them. But also
they defeat some Cubans.
But I guess.
But it wasn't. They didn't. The army, the U.S. army, never went in Cuba.
No,
never went. So they didn't defeat no one.
But optically, a man of Castro can say, "Look what the U.S. did, and look how I fought for you."
That was the rhetoric. Yeah.
How he fought the people.
Yeah.
I mean, how he fought for the Cuban people. But not only that, the U.S. then, I think it's about 100 assassination attempts they had on Castro, which
that's what he said.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And it's interesting.
You really think that they were failed?
I don't know. These days, I think one thing I guess we can get into.
When they are really after you.
Hey.
Really after you.
Sometimes, luck is on your side. That's all I can say. See, Castro in that time.
No, I will say that our homeland security is great. It's the best in the world.
We can get into that. I have a lot of because of the KGB definitely helped. But
we are great heirs from the KGB.
But one thing we were talking about before the show, before we started recording, is the ideology and the mindset of Castro. Because you were saying that he removed religion and he wanted to be, the face that everyone looked up to. So me telling you that, I've read that it's been stated that he's had 100 assassination attempts on his life. It's interesting that who's to say that it isn't made up, and that he just said all this stuff just to boost his image for the people, just to keep reminding the people that
keep reminding you that he's the God.
Yeah, the U.S. they're fighting you, but I'm in the way.
Yes.
And they want to explode my cigars.
Yes.
And they hired one of my mistresses to try to kill me.
They're trying to kill me because I am here for you, and I'm fighting for you, and I don't earn. He said once that he didn't get any money for the position, for being the president.
Dang, a lot of lies.
Like he used to go to national television and said, I don't earn any money to do this. You can look into my bank account.
But nobody could.
One of the richest people by Forbes.
Yeah, the Castro brothers, aren't they? They're worth like 800 million, something like that. Well,
They own an island. They steal the island of Cuba for them.
They stole an island.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, it's like a metaphoric way of saying.
Oh, okay, I understand. I get you. I get you. But let's talk about your experience growing up. You have your grandmother who remembers life when Cuba was great, and the money was good, and she could buy all the sweets she wanted and things like that. Was she telling you stories about life before Castro when you were growing up?
Yeah, the stories before Castro were like if you told me now. Or
no, like when
I was growing up.
Because she would have seen.
The thing in me is that my mother is Cuban, but my father is Spanish.
Oh. Okay.
So I grew up in two worlds.
In two worlds,
yeah,
Spain and
that.
Cuba.
No. I grew up in Cuba,
okay,
but with the
culturally
mentality. Yeah. So. I always like put a lot of interest in the historic and geography and know things. So I think that made me from a really early age realize the differences actually as well, because for example. My father worked in Cuba with the business, so he used to travel a lot. So I can say that I have had a good, happy childhood compared to the rest of the Cuban people. So in the school, for example, my mom always put to lunch. She used to put me, I don't know, a soda and a soda and a sandwich. That's a basic thing. In Cuba, it's luxury. So I used to go. Go to
that. You said that was a luxury.
That was a luxury. Yeah.
Ooh.
Like the soda, like a Coke, and a Coke and a ham and cheese sandwich.
Something we look at today
as nothing.
As very basic.
As basic. So
but that
when
was
you
a luxury.
Go in the school, it's a luxury, and actually the teacher called my mom to said like, oh, there is a lot of other students here, like it's gonna be conflict if you keep bringing her with this kind of lunch or I don't know, a snack. So this is me. so it's because I'm talking about sandwich. And then
what was that like for you?
Because I started thinking, so we are not equal here.
And you were
I started realizing that okay, so I have this sandwich, and a lot of my peers in the school, they don't have nothing to eat. How come? How they don't have sandwiches? Why they don't?
Yeah, and you're brought up in this system that everyone is equal.
Yeah.
And this is in the 90s.
This is like
2000.
Yeah.
But still, Castro came in, call it 60, right? So 60 to 2000, that's 40 years of everyone is equal and we're all in this together.
Yeah.
But here you are in school, you have a basic ham and cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
And it's like you brought a Prada bag.
And the teacher needed to call my mom to tell her, please don't bring her the sandwich.
Don't bring a basic ham and cheese sandwich because other kids don't have this.
Yeah. So I start realizing that equality or it was a lie, because there is always gonna be people that has language
and don't.
So I still think that, and I still, of course, why we need to say students for communists, we will be like Che. I don't want to be like Che. Why I need to say that?
Yeah. Is that, would you say that was the moment where your mind started to shift? Like, hey, wait a minute, there's something.
No, I won't
fishy,
say that.
Fishy going around
You just, it's like a lot of daily things that start happening.
You start to realize, hey, this is.
You start realizing that this is not working. That it's not working. That it's a lie. That, for example, what I don't know. I did I studied communication, and I did the thesis, the degree about an historical part of communications. It's called Society and Communications. So it was a historical thesis. And I tried so hard to do like a research about how the communications works before the revolution.
Right.
It was a scandal. My thesis was a scandal because I was saying that before the 60s, we were fine and the constitution was nice. Imagine to say that in the University of Havana in front of all the communist teachers.
It's just, we laugh, but it's just what? Like this, like a university is supposed to be a place where you can speak freely.
That's why I thought
challenge
my
ideas.
life. That's what I thought. That's why I was waiting for. That was I was waiting for growing up. I was like, okay, the university is gonna be different. There should be people here that encourage
like thought diversity.
It never happened. I never.
So when you gave this speech about how life was better in Cuba before the revolution, was it just like blank stares in the auditorium? What was that?
Yeah.
What was that feeling like for you? Did you feel like an outsider? Like I felt like these people, they're gonna kill me, or they were staring at me like, what are you saying? How dare you to not say even that? I didn't even mention Castro. How dare you not to mention God here? Oh my goodness.
That was their look at me. Like that was what they were thinking.
Jeez.
So yeah, at that moment, when I did what I did, expressing myself.
How dare you?
The audacity.
The audacity you have expressing yourself at a university.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
So, yes, totally, all of that. So when I did that, and I realized that I didn't care the grade that they would give me, I was like, I'm free. That's it. You couldn't get to me. You are not part of me.
Yeah.
I'm an outsider, but I'm also gonna dedicate my life now, or my vision, or any platform that I have. I'm gonna dedicate it to speak against this regime and this awful system that is communism, socialism.
Before we get into that, I gotta ask, like, how do you guys speak about anti-communism like back then? Like, did you have to like meet privately?
We didn't. No. It was a silent society. No, we didn't speak.
Did you just give each other the nod? Like, I understand you're an anti-communist. Just that's it?
Yeah.
Dang.
And
living in fear.
No, yeah. There was a moment. That's why I'm talking about the homeland security is the best.
Oh, it is. Let me actually get to that point.
Because there was a moment that you were afraid in the bus. You were afraid of talk because you didn't know if the other one is from the Homeland Security,
Right.
like a policeman or something.
Yeah. Oh, and what was that? As I get to, where is it? Because Cuba having great relationships with the former Soviet Union. The former Soviet Union used to have a beautiful security system called the KGB.
Soviet Union used Cuba to threat U.S.
Yeah, but not only that, Cuba got a lot of its. Oh my goodness, my notes. Cuba got a lot of its. How they created the security structure was from the KGB. So, for example, the spies. So, for example, you being on the bus and not knowing that if you could speak your mind without your neighbor ratting you, that was from the KGB, and also the Stasi, which was the East German secret police, which was also influenced
because
from
we can say that
the KGB. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and I'm going to talk to you about how cool World Talk is. But what's even cooler is Smith Road Publishing, the producer and distributor of this show, as well as many other shows, such as the Link Up Podcast and So You 30 and Now What. Now, here is a clip from the most recent episode of the Link Up Podcast.
If you want to be premier, go ahead, man. I really could care less. Because I think, not that I don't care, but I think that we should all have the same objective. Right? It doesn't matter. The premier is just the headpiece, the person who voices all of our collective viewpoints. So if you want to do it, fine, go ahead. I'm cool. You know what I mean? As long as the people are benefiting, that's all I want to know.
How stressful was that time in 2021 when there was that back and forth?
Oh, I can't even remember because it was so numbing. It was so numbing. It was like deja vu because we had went through it in 2017. And so many times we were this close. I remember the opposite side calling me and said, Ken, come over this side. You can work with me. You can, and I won't say which member, but you can work with me. And
was it tempting?
Give us an initial.
No,
I do not.
What was it tempting?
This what you're here for, man.
No, actually, it wasn't tempting. I'm going to tell you why.
it's like we don't live in Cuba not only because the economic is not going well. It's because it's a system that destroys you as a human being. As a human being. It's a system that destroys you as a human being.
One thing you had mentioned, what your grandmother had said about how old Havana was like thriving, right? And then when she goes there now, she's crying. The first thing that came to my mind, it's almost like the soul of what made this piece of the city awesome was like taken away.
That's the thing. And that's why I was telling you, I think before, about the neurosurgeon Cuban that made this Fidel Castro profile. And she agrees to the statement that we have an anthropologist.
Yeah, something. Yeah, an anthropologist.
An anthropologist damaged as a society.
Ooh, because of...
So what's that? It's lack of values.
Yeah.
It's lack of faith. So when someone doesn't have faith,
right?
I don't say that just any faith in God or the Catholic.
But just faith in.
But faith.
Faith in general.
Faith in general. When you don't have values, because if you're honest, anyway, you are not getting the reward by what you do.
No, there's no nothing. You're kind of lifeless. You're in a It's like an open air prison.
Yes.
You just kind of exist.
You just exist, and then hopeless. And that destroy you as a human being. And this is it's an anthropologic damage that we carry as a society today. And it's really hard even to all the Cubans outside be united in one thing. That the family division is so cruel that we still have so many disagreements in if you go back to Cuba or no, if you help your family or no, if you send money or you don't send, or if the artist needs to speak out for the country or no. So we're still in the same fight.
Because one of the things about, I guess, communism, socialism, and these extremes is that they are pro like dismantling the family.
Yeah,
They want
central.
They want all the citizens to look to the state for everything.
That's the central. The destruction of the family is a central part. The division,
and then also
the kids growing up with the mom because the mom left because the mom was warm. So
oh no, and
then
then
anytime that I say that word, you put that face. But like for us, at the beginning it was so, of course, wrong. But now we took it with pride.
Yeah, I mean, the level of indoctrination. Let's look at that time period of the Cuban Revolution. Those who remember life before Cuba, and let's say they had young kids, those kids, if they go to school in the 60s, they're going to be indoctrinated to think completely differently from what they're going to learn at home. And then you've already started that fracture in the home.
Yeah, totally.
Because those kids are in school 8 hours a day and learning. We don't like the worms.
Yeah.
Castro's the best.
Yeah.
Batista, he prostituted Cuba for the United States. You don't want to be a prostitute for the United States, do you? You know? Yeah. And then if you take that to your home and mom's like, actually, you know, life ain't that bad. Well, chances are little Johnny might rat on his mom to protect the Cuban state. With all this happening and you being in the university speaking out against this ideology, what inspired you to continue using your voice to push for freedom?
Well, I think the only thing that we can save from communism is that when we escape from it, I think we are the ones who most value the freedom. When you live in a society like I lived, and I came here, for example, I feel that I need desperately to fight against just the possibility that something that like socialism can come to any other country. So that's what motivates me, because it's very important to give a cultural fight against it, because the cultural movement of the left is the one that have them in the power position. So I think that we need to the ones who are in favor of freedom, we need to speak ourselves as well, and why it's important to preserve our Western values.
How did socialism and communism impact you directly?
Well, impact me in the way that when I became an influencer or digital creator in Cuba, because the internet in Cuba just get in 2017.
2017?
Yeah, 7 years ago. We start having data.
What?
Yes.
What was it? Can you talk about?
It was before. It was like a Wi-Fi card. So you need to go to a park and connect in that certain area, and then that was 2009, 10, 13. So 15. You need to go to a park and connected by that way. Before it was just for doctors or at home by this modem.
You had to be.
Phone.
Did you have to be like a person of power?
To have
internet.
not even fast internet.
How fast?
Like the modern way with the phone.
With dial-up?
Yeah.
Dial-up in the year 2013?
2012, 2011.
Dial-up?
Yeah, darling.
Wow. Jeez and peace. So you're really dang, it just, oh my goodness, wow.
You still need it. In my home, the Wi-Fi works also by the phone line.
So once you got better internet, that's when you started like.
So when the internet, I started because I also was modeling when I was studying to have money.
Yeah.
So
in Cuba.
Yeah. All of this is in Cuba. So after that moment, defending my thesis degree with the professors, I was like, okay, so I'm a free lady now. Like you couldn't beat me, so
you defeated it.
Yeah,
you defeated the indoctrination.
in my statement, in my certain that I was telling the truth.
Yeah. There's a Bob Marley line. I guess free yourself from mental slavery.
Yeah.
Looks like you freed yourself.
Yeah. So I did. So I was like, okay, so now I will start saying what I see. Just that. I just
observations.
I just exposure the reality. What was going on? I was working, studying, and I came from work or like, I don't know, 6 hours of shooting and makeup and everything, and I went home and I don't have light. I don't have electricity.
Oh my gosh. What's up with that?
What's up with that? Why? Why I don't have electricity if I pay my bills?
You pay your bills.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Everyone pays their electricity and water. Like it's nothing compared. So
not so much cost, but it's the act of, hey, brother.
Yeah, I pay you. Yeah.
Where's my electricity?
Or I pay the internet. Why you put it down every time? I pay everything.
You pay for all these things, and they don't, and the state does not.
And the state just take it off, whatever they like, wherever they want, and you cannot say anything.
And what happens if you do say something?
If you do say something, that's what happened on July 11th.
That was the uprising.
2021.
Yeah.
And that's where I became more strong about the political comments.
Yeah.
Because, in that at that moment, we got to a point that it's enough. It's enough of hunger, misery, poverty, indoctrination, not light, no internet, no freedom.
No freedom.
No freedom. That's what people were saying that day. We want freedom. We don't want to eat. We don't want. We don't want to take off the embargo.
Yeah.
Or U.S. sanctions getting revoked. We want freedom. So what happened? Of course, the brutal repression of the regime, and there is still people today in prison.
I've heard.
Like thousands of young people or political prisoners. There are still women, a lot of women, they're still in prison just for going to the street and say, I want to live free.
I have to ask, there was a brief moment where it was all eyes on Cuba.
Yeah.
And
it was just like a week.
Yeah, but what happened?
What happened that the state the repression was a lot, and people in Cuba still have fear of the regime.
Yeah.
Because it's the best security. It's the best homeland security that I'm telling you. So they spent 65 years of repression.
Yeah.
Of control. Control of your soul. Controlling your soul, your brain, your blood, your marriage, your kids, everything. Every part of what makes you a human being. They control it. The state. So you are afraid of going against them, because if you go,
you could
you can disappear. No, there is people that we were never gonna know where they went.
It's just, oh my goodness, this organization,
this system. That's it. It's the system.
Where did the uprising come from? Because it seemed to be somewhat organized in the sense that I think it was, if my memory serves me correct, and please correct me, that it was like the different cities, they started to uprise as well.
Yeah, it was the first thing. For example,
who started the first one?
This is where we can have. The difference between the Venezuela and the Cuba.
Yes.
Right? In Cuba, they always had an opposition. An opposition movement. With fraud or no, sold or no, they have it.
Like an underground?
No.
Like an opposition party?
Oh,
yeah. Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, opposition movement, because it was many parties. No? We didn't.
You did not?
Yeah. We never.
You never had opposition?
Had opposition.
It was only Castro?
We just one party. No, it's illegal to have other party.
It's illegal?
It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. Our constitution is communist.
It is unconstitutional to oppose Castro politically?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Our constitution is said it's a communist island, and the leader of the population is the Communist Party.
And that's it.
That's it.
So how did the uprising start?
So, for example, so we don't have a leader of. We have many. I'm gonna say that we have a lot of. It's not even called opposition. In Cuba, it's called political prisoners or
political activists.
Yeah, political activists. So we had a lot, and a lot of political prisoners from the starting 60s. There was people who just said, "I'm not going to pass this." Like, we didn't fight for communism, and Fidel Castro put them in jail 30 years. So this starts in San Jose. It's like Havana, but like the countryside of Havana.
Like a suburb, in a sense.
No, like we said like a town, but like a country town.
Okay.
And I remember like if we was today, and of course we will never forget those moments. I was at home, and I used to put with my mom a section on my social media where we replied comments, like a question and answers on the histories. And I was posting that, and my mom started like, "Oh my God, there is people going to the streets in this town. What's going on? There is lives, and something is happening. Oh my God," because it was the first time, 2021, after 1959. 2021 is the first time that a massive organization They weren't even organized. It wasn't organized.
They just it just happened.
Desperate. They just move by the streets saying, it's enough. I cannot cook. I cannot live. I don't have light. I don't have nothing. Like, they spend like 18 hours by day without electricity.
I have to ask, is it because social media could not be, quote unquote, infiltrated by the state that the information of people going out was like,
That's it. No, social media in Cuba is it's having right now like big relevance. That happened in 2021 because of that. Because we start like, oh my God, it's going on, and of course they take off the internet.
I remember. I didn't understand.
Yeah, because there is only one company. There is one company for all the communications in Cuba.
So
if this company said it's gone, it's gone for everyone. Oh man. So we start getting all the, oh my God, it's this town, but now it's this one, and now it's this one, and it's Camagüey, and it's Santiago de Cuba, and it's other provinces, and we will start getting so excited. We were so proud. We were like, okay, like this could be the end. It can be done. It can happen. Oh my God, wow. That's how we lived it. And then we see the capital in Havana, full of people, and I was like, wow. We were like, oh my God, this is so unexpected, but at the same time so brave in a way that, okay, we are doing it. It can be done. Because we have seen a lot of protests around the world every time. Nothing happened. What happened? That the police, if you are violent, give you, I don't know, gas or something like that. That of course, I'm not justifying anything.
But compared to Cuba.
But compare how they, what have done in Cuba.
How the security state.
Got
trained by the KGB.
Look, exactly. Yep. So imagine that after 60 years, finally you see some people in the streets saying, I want freedom. It's enough.
A lot of people say courage is contagious. Do you think that these different towns saw like, oh, they're doing it? Well, we're doing it too.
Yeah, that's what should happen. But it didn't happen.
What was the downfall of that?
The repression,
what was the repression like?
They start taking people, all of them.
So they cut the internet.
They cut the internet.
What happened next?
Next, they start taking everyone from the streets. Everyone. They were conducted in buses to prison.
Just like that.
Just like that. Of course, beating, blood, everything. And it wasn't like a million people. It was maybe thousands. But it was a huge amount of people. It should be. For me to get to a moment that the dictatorship, there is no army that can beat, I don't know, 3-4 million people on the streets.
No.
I don't think any army could do that. But for me, Cuba still needs to do a healing process of what we have been through. And the fear is still a lot, and I don't know how, because like what else you're gonna lose?
There's nothing.
There is nothing to lose.
But would you say that's the indoctrination? Because we can look at it and be like, what do you have to lose? But for those people...
For us... for us... No. I'm saying that at this moment, 2024, there is no one in the street. It's like a ghost city. In these 3 years, like 3 million people have left. So we were 11 million, now we are 8 million.
Everyone just had to leave.
Everyone is leaving. Like that's the dream of the people in Cuba is to can get out of there. That's your hope in life.
To leave the country
you
were
born there and you feel that it's a disgrace. This is so sad.
It is.
It is so sad.
Because Cuba...
You don't feel...
So
you don't feel... They equal the patriot... That's something... It's so complex. Like, they equal patriotism with communism.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not communist, you're not a patriot.
And you want to be a patriot. Don't you love your country?
Exactly. So why I'm not I consider myself a patriot.
But not,
I am a patriot. You are not gonna say that because I'm not communist, I'm not Cuban or a proud Cuban.
Yeah.
And that was the speech, that was the rhetoric. So the essence of who you are is being killed.
Yeah. Before we move on to Venezuela, I have to ask, when Castro left power because he was sick...
He died.
In 2008 and gave it to his brother Raul. Mm-hmm. What was that like? Was Cuba in like, oh, this is great, Raul's a great guy? Or were people like, wait, whoa,
no,
what's up with this?
We were like, it's the same thing. It's the same ideology. It's nothing's gonna change. A lot of people thought that, oh, they are different and they have different personalities. Oh my God, what's gonna happen?
But they're brothers.
No, and they are bad people. That's what we need to understand. They put their country in a misery. So how are you gonna be a good person when you intentionally provoke that your country is in misery and that your people want to get out of there?
Yeah, because
they do it intentionally.
I believe so. And I'm sure
I read that a quote from a Russian artist from the opposition that said that you cannot be a good person, an intelligent, and a communist. If you are a communist and intelligent,
you're not a good person.
You are not a good person because you are doing wrong to your people.
To your people, right?
If you are communist and a good person, you are not intelligent because it's a lot of ignorance still.
Oh, loads.
in Cuba actually as well, and people who still want that to live because they prefer that. That is not, you are not intelligent at all.
Do you think that's because they don't know anything? And ignorance is always a fear of something new. So it's like, well, it's a bad situation, but it's the bad situation we know.
Yeah, of course. There is a lot of people that, a lot of immigrants that also goes to US, and they are saying that it's so hard. It's so hard to live in US and or to live in capitalism. You need to pay so many bills. Why? So...
Well, hold on. Do they not realize that when you pay your bills in America...
It's because you have a right after to...
But not only that, like in Cuba, you pay your electricity bill, electricity doesn't come on. But in America, you pay your bill, it comes on.
Yeah.
It doesn't compute.
But of course it needs to be like that. But you are... damaged.
That's the indoctrination.
Jeez. You still want to be hanging around. And because in Cuba, it's like a really popular people saying like, this is bad, but at least I don't need to work that more. You have money even if you don't work. What is that?
What is that?
What is that? That vision of life of being hanging around.
Bums on the street. I don't know. I have a derogatory view of it, but I'm trying to not be biased.
No, because
it's not a productive society.
it's not a productive society. So why you want to have money if you don't work hard? Who is gonna give you that money? The state?
So it's like you're looking to the state. Soon you're gonna ask the state to like help you bathe.
Yes. And that's when the state got you. So I'm giving you this if you behave how I want you to behave.
Cheese and peas. It's almost like I treat my dog like that. You know what I mean? Like you'll get a treat if you sit and you do a little trick.
Yeah. That's it.
Here's a little treat.
Exactly.
Be thankful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you don't do what I'm telling you, you don't have your food today.
No, you're going
so
outside.
So you go outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the explanation of socialism and the state in the socialist countries.
That's gross. What does a free and democratic Cuba look like to you?
A dream.
But I say this, and I think when I messaged you this, I think you laughed at me, which that's fine. But I bring that up because ever since El Salvador changed, I realized like, hey, if they can change, everyone can change.
No, all we need is will.
Mm.
And to change in Cuba, there is a need of the will of many sectors. Military sector, like the army, is such a disgrace that they just are not with the people that they're supposed to defend.
No, they're with the state.
They're with the state, which is killing even their wives and their children and everyone. Because, of course, there is a highest generals and commanders or whatever their rank is that live in the rich way, in the wealth way. But everyone the normal soldiers, poor, and having the same problems that everyone else in the society has.
I asked.
So it's the will of change and losing the fear. Losing the fear is, I think, the only way to change, because no one from outside is gonna help us. It never happened.
Who created more harm for the Cuban people? The U.S. embargoes or the state itself?
The state, of course. The U.S. embargo, for me, was a response of Eisenhower and the government of that moment to all the expropriation and nationalization of the government, that they took off everything from American citizens as well, and they never paid. So that's what the beginning of the embargo. Mm. Then, where is the chicken that is in Cuba coming from? U.S.
But you got all that land. I think I've told this to Mr. Producer. If Cuba was if Cuba was a democratic country and enterprise can run free, I think you guys would be number one in the Caribbean.
For sure.
You would take...
sure.
You would have all the tourism.
All everything.
You got the beaches, you got mountains.
Yeah.
It's a massive island.
For sure.
All the tobacco fields. Who knows what other amounts of wheat and grain you can produce. The agricultural, the cows, the chickens.
Totally. We are a beautiful country with everything in the Caribbean. To be what we were, which was the best, the perla, the gold, the pearl, or
crown jewel.
The crown jewel. We were that. And we should be that again. And the only way to do that is to condemn and never go into socialism or communism anymore. That's the destruction. How you're gonna destroy a country that left you from Batista, all of that.
Yeah, it seems like
How we are not gonna have sugar?
yeah, and you guys produce rum.
How we are not having fish?
And you get, oh my goodness, like now when you break it down, like
The reality.
it's like, but you guys are on an island. You can just go out there and fish.
The biggest one. Why? Why we don't have I don't know, salt?
This is just,
It's socialism. It's communism. It's to take down the productive economy of the society. There is no other. Thing there. It's to destroy the economic principle of the private property. And when you destroy the private property, and we're not talking about big corporations, it's your will to have your business in any size.
mm-hmm.
But you know that you can do it, that you can begin a store or to sell your chickens or your. In Cuba, it was even forbidden for the farmers to sell beef. So they farm all the costs and everything, and it was forbidden to sell the beef.
That's
No, you will go to jail if they got you with beef. Even the dollar, there was a time that you will go to jail for having $1 in your pocket.
absolute power corrupts absolutely.
It's the worst system on earth.
And
I see with really worry what's going on in the Western world.
we will get to that, but now let us get to how Cuba exports its ideology to the region. And let's start with everyone's favorite Latin American country, formerly known as the Dubai of Latin America, Venezuela.
Okay.
How was that? What was the relationship like between Chavez and Castro? There's a photo of them. They're both in tracksuits, just sitting, chilling.
Okay.
How did Cuba influence
Let's start
Venezuela?
talking about Venezuela. But I would try to be
as fair as you can.
really fast. Not fast, but like quiet. Because it's a lot. And I don't want to fail in this subject. So I need you to record this again. I was telling you, I almost feel a kind of blame, like a social blame for what's going on in Venezuela, of what had happened there from Chavez. Chavez was the best student from Castro. What that means, that Castro taught him all the control, the extreme control politics, and the way of that was I was playing the 21st socialism, the 21st century socialism, which is you get to power by the election, by a democratic way, because that's how it works now. You cannot get into by force. So you need to appear democratic.
Yeah.
You need to look and appear democratic. And when you get there, you change the constitution. That's it. And that's what happened there.
I laugh because I had this image in my head, like, listen, baby, the days of going in there and shooting people, like those are
that's
done.
gone. That's done.
You got to go in there. You got to divide the people. You're going to say you're going to fight for the people's rights.
Yes.
Take back all this land from the U.S. corporations.
Yes.
Give it to the people.
Yeah.
You get in there. You change the constitution.
Yeah.
Like,
and then at that moment, you don't do elections anymore. That's it.
Because that's what
That's what he did.
Yeah.
So first he tried the military coup.
Chavez.
He did it in the 92. It didn't work, and he was in jail.
Mm-hmm.
In jail, that's something that also happened with Castro.
Was Castro in jail?
Yeah, he was in jail in the 53 because he tried to do like a
coup?
forced assault to a quartel, to a headquarters of state police station, to a big police station in Santiago.
Okay, he tried to attack it.
He tried to attack it with weapons. Okay, they were not. They were not pacifist protesters.
No, they went in there to cause harm.
They went to cause harm.
Could you describe that as like a form of domestic terrorism?
Of course.
There you have it.
Of course. No, they're criminals.
Mm-hmm.
And they were being prosecuted as such.
Yes.
So Batista put them in jail. I mean, the justice put them in jail in the 53, 54. And then they give them the amnesty. So they get out of jail and they went to Mexico, exile, and they come back. So Batista, being so bad, he put you out of the jail after 1 or 2 years. I think that they spent all this group of revolutionaries.
Mm-hmm.
So Chavez, the same. He went to jail because of the military coup, and then they put it out of jail, and then he started growing this. And at that moment, Fidel Castro already was like,
He sees he's a good scout for talent.
Because Castro always was behind the Venezuela researchers and the Venezuela wealthy. Because before, in the 58 and the 60s, the president of Venezuela at that moment defeat the communism there and fight against it. So Castro was like, oh no, I need to get Venezuela. Yeah,
exactly. But also, Cuba has all this resources, and I was reading that even in Cuba's in security state, they were exporting, like they were sending their people into other and bringing their tactics with them, teaching, training.
Yes. So what happened? This Castro said, "Oh, there is a guy there saying that he's a military and that he wants to change and he's poor and he wants to do all of these things for the poor people." And I see him. He was like, I saw the potential.
Yeah.
So it started being in touch with him, and then Chavez won the elections in the 99 or 98, 99. So then start the first government. All the things that we know already, like changing the constitution, assembly that we don't know what they're doing, the communications, the TV stations closed, censored, all the liberties, and he starts what they are really good doing it is to centralize the power in one party. So that party has the judge, the Congress, the National Electoral Committee, which is now the CNE.
And they certify the elections. Is that?
I'm not getting there yet.
All right.
So, all the powers, the constitutional powers, are in hands of the commander-in-chief and the president. So the executive is the one who does everything for just their benefit. A lot of repression, opposition, and then they start getting, I was talking about this, like in the whole history of Venezuela, they had $7 when Chavez got into power. They had the oil barrel at $7.
Right.
When Chavez was in power, it got to $150. So imagine the amount of money that guy had.
The thousands of percent, and it's oil. It's not like we're gonna do without it. We need oil.
It's the largest oil reserve in the world.
Yeah, and everybody needs it.
How you go from $7 to $150? So you have all the money that you want, and how he used that money to control, to repress, to deal with the criminal agenda of the region, to send a lot of the Venezuelan resources to Cuba, saying that Cuba is sending teachers and doctors
and doctors, yes,
and security.
Yeah, can't forget them.
You can't forget them. Even people from the army. So the military in Venezuela is full of Cuban militaries. How that could be possible?
That beautiful connection between Fidel.
Exactly. So that's why
Chavez.
I say that I feel blame, not for me personally, but like my country or the dictatorship is really, really, really guilty of many things that happened in Venezuela. Even when Chavez died,
and Maduro took over.
But there was a moment that Venezuela was without president because everyone was all of them were in Cuba, trying to say what we're gonna do now.
Yeah, Fidel, teach us.
So give us something because we are that.
Dang.
So how we came to this part now, the Venezuelan situation now.
Mm-hmm. As in they recently had that election.
Yeah.
Maduro says, "Yo, I won," and Maria Corina Machado.
Yeah.
Maria Corina Machado.
Yes.
And Edmundo Gonzalez
Urrutia. Yeah.
Yes.
You did it pretty nice.
Thank you. I remember seeing them. They released data saying, "Hey, look, this is actually how we won the election."
Yes, and that's the key. That's the key of the election.
But Maduro and his cronies within his government were like, "No. We already certified Maduro."
The CNE. The CNE.
Yes.
Okay.
The election commission. I don't know.
It's the National Electoral Committee.
Yes.
Should be saying. Okay, so. But we need to understand what's going on actually deeply, because it's not just an electoral fight or like an electoral feat. They are doing an ethical, spiritual, and existential fight for their freedom. I'm explaining this. So this is how we get to the election, no? They were the Barbados Agreement, where U.S. is saying, okay, Maduro, so I'm gonna withdraw the sanctions if you do free elections.
Yeah.
So let's do a free elections. So what is the free election? That the people from the opposition can have international observers or viewers of the election. That's how free. That the opposition can be doing interviews or doing a campaign or getting to the people by any way as the officialism can do it. That's a free election. So none of that happened in Venezuela. Maria Corina Machado won the primaries in 2023, and then they disqualified her, so she cannot be the leader, the official presidential candidate. So she restores. She said that she's gonna put the Edmundo González as the candidate. Everyone accept him. Like the unified platform that is the opposition in Venezuela. So everyone is agreed that Edmundo is the candidate from the general elections. Okay, so they do the campaign, I'm saying again, without money, without being on the mass communication, with Maduro putting all the people from the opposition in jail, like political prisoners. Going because Maria Corina can't travel in their own country. She has been banned to travel. She cannot get a flight.
So she cannot leave.
She cannot leave, and she cannot even in the country. She cannot go by a plane from Caracas to Maracaibo.
Ooh.
Yeah. So all of that by car, walking, with people from Maduro putting containers so she cannot go. Okay, so this is the environment. July 28th, with all of that going on, all of this huge popular exercise, they go to vote. They stay there till the end, and they vote 70-30 for Edmundo González, which is Maria Corina.
Yes.
So it was 7:30 because a million of Venezuelans abroad cannot register to do the votes, and even people guys from 18 years, they couldn't vote either in this election because Maduro said no. So if it was going to be 90-10, no, they vote. In the other huge exercise of popular sovereignty, they recollect the data. They recollect the data, say that prove that the vote of the people, and that's why it's so urgent to defend this cause in Venezuela, because what it means that Maduro is saying that he won and he didn't give any proof of it to the international community or even to the Venezuelans. So the origin of this is that if we cannot defend this, why we're gonna vote tomorrow? What is the purpose of an election?
Yeah, it's
if the winner proved is not being recognized and the other one is saying that he won without any proof.
That's not fair at all.
No, that's the end of democracy.
It is. But let me ask you this. Do you think that Maduro has to hold on to power as long as he can because the U.S. has a bounty on his head, and not just his head, but members of his cabinet as well? So being in power, he is protected. But once he's out of power, he is now liable for prosecution from the U.S. judicial
He is
system.
still in power because he's a criminal.
Yeah,
and he knows that if he's not having this amount of other criminals around him, he's going to jail. or to
Who knows where?
who knows where.
But-
Who knows where, who know how, who know when or whatever, but he knows that, of course.
Yeah.
But he needs to understand that the cost, that's what the international community needs to do. Make him understand that the cost of staying in power is higher, is bigger than the cost of living in a negotiation that Maria Corina and the opposition are willing to do. But they were willing to do it without all this brutal repression that he is doing right now. There is 7 children being kidnapped, tortured, electrocuted, beaten, knocked out. All the atrocities that you can imagine are going on there. So what is the purpose of NU or
Like the UN,
or the UA or the
UNICEF or
UNICEF,
Amnesty
UNESCO.
International. Yeah, UNESCO. Where you at?
What are the purpose of these organizations if they are not to have a real strong threat on what Maduro is doing? They need to say the cost of living, the cost of staying is higher than the cost of living.
It's hard though because Venezuela.
Why is hard?
Well, Venezuela is with 7.7 million people, like a fifth of their population fled.
Yeah.
Because of the political crisis. 70, I think.
Because of communism
Yep.
and socialism and stream control and all the things that we have talked already.
Yes, and also poverty is, I want to say, low end. 7 out of 10 people are in poverty. So, but Maduro, this is the Venezuelan people that have to deal with all the U.S. sanctions. Like they are the ones hurting. I don't know if you recall the Maduro diet, how the population lost weight because they couldn't get food, but that man's still fat. So
Yeah.
for him and his cronies, they're fine. Right, and not only are they fine, I'll adjust that in a second.
Yeah.
But not only are they fine, they're not just relying on internal state revenue to make money. They're trafficking cocaine,
They are a criminal organization.
wholesale.
Yeah.
You know, they are traffickers.
Yeah.
Venezuela can be considered a narco-terrorist state.
It is. Totally. It is a narco state. It is a narco dictatorship. It is a criminal state. And they need to be treated as criminals.
Yeah.
They cannot be treated as the President Maduro. He's a criminal. He is staying in power knowing, and everyone, the world knows, that he lost. It's proved that Mundo Gonzalez is the president-elect.
What do you think needs to happen for Maduro to leave, since he will not leave in the current situation? Like, no matter how many times Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State for the U.S., says, wags his finger or whatever, everyone is condemned, senators have condemned, but what would you like to see that you can say, okay, Venezuela will now change?
Well, first of all, I think it's a Venezuelan cause, but now it's a global cause. They turn their cause in a global one. Everyone is talking about it, but everyone feel the urgency of defend what democracy is. So, spaces like this, or the pressure that all the governments or the citizens can do with their governments to help or to put a strong condemn or a strong threat to the Maduro regime. For example, I don't know here what's the government opinion on that.
You're looking at the number one anti-Maduro person. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about our government, but not only that, our government really doesn't get involved in regional
but it's because I understand that we rely on the UK
US.
position and whatever, but in order to get Maduro to understand this, that I was saying, that if he stays, it's gonna be worse
Yeah, but what does that look like though? Because for me, it's just, I mean, the man just traffics drugs. He doesn't need the country. I mean, he uses the country in its failed state to traffic drugs.
Yeah.
He's not sharing any of that wealth with the millions of people.
No, that is, I mean...
Him and his cronies are fine, but it's the people that are starving and dying.
Yeah, but, okay, so what is democracy right now? What we are defending here? We are defending that the people, it's the vote of the people. The people elect this guy. Is proved, right? So why in the international community, the Parliament, the European Parliament, other organizations that we have talked, why they don't say, Maduro, so you lost. If you're staying one more day, we are going there.
It should be something. Along.
It's
those lines.
It's not even need to happen, but it's a threat. It's a strong threat for him.
Yeah.
Why that statement is not being done yet?
That is a great question because I mean, boy.
Because they are also involved. There is a lot of people from a lot of governments involved in this narco dictatorship, and they don't want to lose their interests. Yes, of course that happened.
Of course, but not only on the illegal side. Do you think that? So one thing we had talked about before was it the Sao Paulo? It's like the
forum.
The forum. In this forum, and I personally, after seeing Anthony Blinken and all these other Western politicians, figureheads wag their finger at Venezuela, I think that the Latin American forum could do a lot, add more pressure.
Yeah, but who is representing us in Latin America?
But not just that. You have a lot of Maduro aligned thinkers, like the new Colombian president.
Petro, Boric will surprise us in a good way. The Chilean one, yeah.
And
Gabriel Boric,
Lula
from
Petro,
Brazil,
Colombia.
Okay, Lula
for those who don't know.
Sorry. Lula from Brazil.
Yeah. Left wing.
Left wing. Boric from Chile. Left wing. Petro from Colombia. Left wing. Argentina now is the heaven. It's the heaven because it's Milei. So they are from the good side now. But they were till from 9 months ago. They were be aligned with Maduro as well. So Mexico, it was López Obrador, which is
he was a leftist.
Yes.
And now his successor, I forget her name.
Sheinbaum, Claudia Sheinbaum.
Yeah, she too.
She is from the same party and she is the same socialist. So Nicaragua is the dictatorship in Cuba, and after that one is Nicaragua one. Or this Ortega or whatever dictator, or another dictator. Honduras is this lady, which is involved in a lot of corrupt scandal with the sister. I think it's a family who is in power in Honduras.
I'll have to.
The Zelaya. Yeah. That family is like one president. The sister-in-law or the brother-in-law is now president, and the other.
It's just a big family.
It's just a big Zelaya family. Yeah, they're being in power years. So we have Honduras. And we have also, what is the other one? I think that's it. Like the situation is that one.
He has a lot of. So let's say the Sao Paulo Forum.
Yeah.
Let's say they were to unite and say, "Hey, Maduro, we didn't like what you did with that election." But he's got so many sympathizers in there, leftist sympathizers, that it just, I don't think even regionally they can't have that conversation.
Yeah, but. Actually, that happened already. Like all these presidents, the most left, like the leftists, like in the really communist way, as I would say, the Lula, Petro, and Mexico. So that's the three.
And those
the biggest supporters, of the biggest aligned to Maduro.
Not only that, they are major economic players as well in the region.
Yeah.
I think Brazil is the largest landmass in the Latin American region.
Yeah, no, they are huge.
And with BRICS, with the new world economic world order with BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China,
Yeah.
South Africa,
Yeah.
and more nations
But-
coming together. Coming
Yeah.
together.
But they even those who were aligned to Maduro, they are saying now, okay, this is too much.
Too much.
This is like, I've been asking for the data that you present the data to look like I'm still a Democrat.
Yeah.
To look to appear a Democrat. But like, you are not showing nothing.
No.
How I'm gonna look like here? How I'm gonna say? What else I'm gonna say now if you don't show anything that I can be around you?
Mm-hmm.
I cannot look like I'm
Like a sympathizer.
and that's what Chavez and Maduro always did with all the electoral process in Venezuela. It was always fraud on it.
Yeah.
In each election, it was fraud on it. Now the huge thing is that they proved the victory.
I think it's funny though, because in the past, a lot of these, and you can see it in African dictatorships, where they'd be like, "Yo, I got 95% of the vote," but it's like,
Yeah.
what? But I think it's interesting how Maduro's like, "I got 56% of the
Yeah,
vote."
yeah.
Like, see?
To look,
See?
of course, to look tight,
Yeah.
look, to generate that uncertain, like, oh, maybe we indeed lost.
Yeah. Maybe we can do better.
Maybe we can do better because it was so close.
Yeah, but we still won,
Well,
but
yeah.
we can do better.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you, and you hear a lot about this in like dictators, is the strong man. Like Maduro is a strong man, but I find him quite weak. The fact that he wants to silence his political opponents, because if you're so strong, then you can take them on
Yeah.
in the debate, in the rallies, in the whatnot. But why do you have to silence?
Because, first of all, if you put Maduro and the opposition leader, which is Maria Corina Machado, just watching them speak is two different realities. It's two different worlds. Like, the debate there is unworthy.
It is unworthy.
It is unworthy.
He would lose instantly if they had a debate.
That's why he never let her register as a presidential candidate.
One thing I loved about her message was, "I want Venezuelans to come home."
Yeah, that's why she talks a lot about that is a ethical, spiritual, and existential fight. Why? It's spiritual because it's for the good. It's for the good against the devil. It's existential because it's for life. They are dying.
Yeah.
They are literally dying. And it's ethical because it's about the truth. It's about the truth. It's about that we need to defend the people's sovereignty. Like, they won. And the truth is that the socialism has destroyed a country that could have been everything in the world with all the money that Chavez had.
Dubai of Latin America.
Of course, Dubai of Latin America. Of course, Chavez had from 7 to 150.
I wish cryptocurrency would boom like that. But
So-
you're talking about thousands of % increase.
Yeah.
Where did all that money go?
Where? They had a time, 2016, because I've started speaking with a lot of Venezuelan people, and they start saying that they were telling me that 2016, 2017, like, they were in a level of hunger just known by Cubans, and that's why I told you before that nobody understands Venezuelan situation as Cubans.
Dang. Because you guys...
Nobody can understand what they went through. Nobody can understand what they are, what is happening there, because we the Cubans, we lived 65. They are on 25.
Dang.
We lived 65.
You got 40 years ahead of them.
Everything that happened there, everything that happened there is calculated, and it was done by Castro and Cuba. The political, the higher class, the political class in Venezuela is led by Cuba.
Cheese and peas.
And of course now by the narco, and it's a criminal organization.
It is.
They don't have any ideology anymore.
No, it's just.
They don't have ideology anymore.
It just seems like
They're
survival.
just. I will say, like, this is my Congress. I will say that I won, and I won. I don't care. I don't care what Central Carter says. I don't care what the NU said, United Nations says. I don't care about UNESCO. I don't care about nothing. I don't care. I'm just gonna stay here. How we're gonna allow that?
One thing, I don't know how to say this properly, but one thing is interesting is about the communications of a dictator, how they are the voice. But not only that, these guys can speak for hours, and they're not boring. They're not like boring. Today was a good day. No, they're very animated. Arms.
Yeah.
We're gonna fight.
Yeah,
You know?
it's always like
The U.S.
Yeah. This is what Chavez was.
Do you-
Chavez just was a charismatic guy.
Do you remember on the UN floor? I think it was Hillary Clinton or George Bush was before him on the stage, and he's like, "It smells like sulfur here. The devil was here." It's like, dang, like what, like he's very charismatic.
Yeah,
and his
yeah,
citizens
yeah.
can be like, "That's our guy fighting for us."
Yeah.
You know,
Totally, and that's how they love that.
Yeah.
They increase that.
and also they control the communication. So all
Yeah.
this stuff about Anthony Blinken condemning, like maybe the average Venezuelan won't see that, but they will
Even-
see Maduro saying, "I told that guy, get out of here."
Yeah. It's like this Barbados agreement. Like, why Biden don't call this guy and said, "Baby, you literally did all against what I told you to do, or against what we agreed to do."
Who, Biden?
Yeah.
I don't think he even knows what's happening.
No, of course. I'm talking about the administration.
Yeah, the
I'm
administration,
talking about
yeah.
the
State Department
the State Department, the Democrat Party,
Yeah.
and all of them that are in charge. They are in charge now, and I've laughed so hard when Kamala is saying now that it's gonna be a change in her getting the presidency, because she's bringing a lot of new things. What?
What?
What new things you're bringing? You have been 4 years there. What you have done? Nothing. No, yeah, get the border full of illegal immigrants, criminals, most of them.
Before we get into U.S. politics, let's talk about the Latin American region, because there are some major shifts happening. For example, a lot of these countries that we named earlier, they're going... So, for example, Lula got arrested.
A criminal.
From the Petro something scandal. It had to do...
Petrosur?
That's it.
Yeah.
It was, I believe that was the scandal that got him arrested. And then right-wing man...
Bolsonaro.
He
Yes.
got in,
Yeah.
then he's out. He lost to Lula. So
They say he lost.
they say, but as
Yeah, because now, I mean,
but as of today,
why we
Lula
should
is
believe it?
as of today, Lula is president.
Yeah, of course.
So, but these are recent changes. Then you
Yeah.
have El Salvador, which was one of the world's most deadliest countries,
And Bukele is in power.
and Bukele
Thank God.
He came in there and he was like, "No, we have to do all these things differently." Locked up the criminals. Now El Salvadorians are coming back to the country, saying, "Finally, like we left
Yeah.
here because of the civil war and all this political violence, and now we can go back to our country." In Argentina was left wing, but then a young man, or not a young
Not
man,
young,
a short man with a
Milei.
with a chainsaw,
Yeah.
would
The lion.
would be like, "Listen,
Waking up lions.
we're gonna cut down the bureaucracy
Yeah.
with a chainsaw."
The casta.
Yeah, and so you have these big shifts. I mean, Mexico was conservative rule for many a time, but as of recently, with AMLO and the new president, I forget her name, Claudia
Sheinbaum.
Now they're left wing. So it's these moving parts. But then you listen to speeches of Bukele, and he'll be like, "Man, leaders in the region are coming to me, going, how'd you make your country so safe?" And because of that, I think it just seems like, oh, we're left, we're right, we're left, we're right. It's anyway. What do you think about Latin American politics and the rise of left wing politics?
Okay, well, why this go down? It's fine?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So, I mean, I am... Actually, I start follow Milei years ago when he was this rock star from the television shows.
Yep.
He is the perfect example of a great citizen that put the homeland, the country, above his own benefits or money or whatever. Because like he is a recognized economist, he's not a politician. Why take all the effort that means be fighting with the left wing, which is the worst? Fight the left is like the urgent thing that we need to do, but it's also exhausting because they're always in chaos, they're always in rallies, they're always in protests, violent ones, so it's exhausting.
The left.
Yeah. So how many times you see rallies from the right wing?
It's in U.S. media. It's there. I don't. If you looked at U.S. media in the summer of 2020, when where they were having the race riots, and how CNN was like, they are fiery but mostly peaceful. You know, it was you. Yeah. To your point, I've actually lies. Well,
lies. You will never see.
There's one, but I'm a bit meh on it, and that was January 6th.
The January 6th.
And I say meh because a lot of those guys, they were found innocent. Once
of course.
Speaker Mike Johnson gave, or whoever gave the tapes to Tucker Carlson, and he put it on air, defense attorneys were going, whoa, that's my client. He, you guys tried him on this, where clearly it states otherwise. So, free him.
And that was all this rhetoric that Trump is a threat to the democracy.
Who elected Kamala Harris? You want to talk about threats to democracy?
You want to talk about Marxism and communism and the price control and tax increase of the taxes and not being afford to buy a house, not being afford to have gas, not being afford to have nothing.
Yeah.
Economy collapsed, and the thing is that we already. Like the world or the Americans already had Trump as a president.
Yeah, and
we have the evidence. What happened? The thing is that nothing happened.
But
the thing is that Russia-Ukraine never would have happened.
No.
Israel-Palestine never would have happened. What we have now? Let me finish.
Yeah.
A weak leadership in U.S. and U.S. has positioned themselves as the saviors of the liberty. So how the saviors are having this weak leadership that looks like they're hanging around in the White House with an upper border with 10 million of immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying that Trump, that proved already in 4 years without any war, taking from the countries the military from U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Saying China, you are not doing our things anymore. U.S. needs to do their things. We have that 4 years. And I have never seen till now any U.S. citizens saying that the economy was worse in the Trump administration.
And
everyone is saying we were better.
And even if you watch, there was a recent MSNBC interview with Kamala Harris, and even that host told her, was like, listen, we did polling, and in the economy, Trump's stronger than you. What do you have to say? And she gave some non-answer.
And she said that she grew up in a middle class family with the mom. Yeah.
But before we
she
get into...
doesn't have any idea, any plan.
Who elected her? I think that's...
Who elected her?
I think that's the scariest part.
Yeah.
And for those...
For sure.
And for those who are listening going, Philip, what do you mean by who elected her?
They didn't do the primaries.
In 2019, during the Democratic primary, Kamala Harris, I believe, was the first person to lose because Tulsi Gabbard questioned her time as just district attorney. And because of that, she dropped out of the race.
Yeah.
Quick note, she called Joe Biden a racist during those primary debates.
Yeah.
Then it was the summer of love, well, not the summer of love, the summer of race riots, 2020, and the Democrats went, okay, we call Trump a sexist and a racist. If we got a black woman in there, oh my God.
That's huge.
That's huge. So, and a vice president...
Let's not talk about the Black Lives Matter.
We can. I think they made life worse for black people, but
of course.
But we'll get to that. So in 2020, she is appointed vice president, not elected, appointed by the Joe Biden campaign. Mm-hmm. Now Joe Biden, you vote for Joe Biden. Kamala is the accessory. Now we're in 2024. Mm-hmm. The Democratic primaries, the Democratic Party was like, no primaries, we don't need him, Joe's the guy. They get through that primary process,
and they went to that debate where no one could say that the Joe Biden is actually...
He looked fried on that stage.
No one can say that his brain is actually functioning well.
It was
say it in a...
No, he did not look
way.
well. He did not look well. And then at that moment, then the media went,
oh, he looks sick.
Oh, he looks sick. We got to get him out there. Kamala, you're up. So, and then I don't know if you watched the Democratic National Convention when all the states approved her. It's like, whoa, who elected her?
Yeah, that's totally.
It's frightening.
It's a threat.
That's the threat.
That's the threat to democracy. What is the Democrat Party? What is what they are like?
I don't know what they are.
Is God? They appointed people.
It's questionable. I mean, if you look at like Democrat-run cities like Chicago, right? They're all like tough on crime, no guns. But Chicago had a higher murder rate in I think 2017 than the Iraq War. So it's I don't know.
And everyone wants to live by in the Republican cities. They have better economy, better policies in the matters. For example,
like Florida.
This is Florida. This is essential.
Promised land.
The Cuban promised land. This is essential. All these policies about children education. Mm-hmm. What about all these cities with drag queens in the elementary school?
Personally, I mean, just based on how I was raised, I think that's weird. I think that's weird.
That's the real weird, and not GD Vance.
No, he's pretty normal. But to be a grown man. And to look at a bunch of children and go, you know what, you need to see a man dressed as a woman dancing.
Totally.
That is gross.
Gross.
In my opinion.
It is. It is. And it's as gross as we can say this Olympic Games inauguration,
yes.
how they mock about Christianity. That was a mockery on Christianity.
I don't care what
I don't care what they're saying about art or about inclusion or about diversity. That was offensive.
It was.
Offensive. So where the Western world is going with all this
down the toilet, really?
Yeah, down the toilet with all this penetration. For example, in Europe, where you can see cities like in UK where the native England, they are not leading the city anymore, and we are letting that ourselves we do the mockery on Christianity, when it's a time which is so important to defend it at any cost.
It seems I'm originally I was originally born in Austria, and I can't speak too much about the UK, but in Austria they're having a hard time in the schools because a lot of the migrants they let in, they don't want to assimilate to Austrian culture or way,
course.
and not even language.
Of course.
But not only do they not want to assimilate, they are quite hostile to anyone that dares tell them,
Yeah.
hey.
That's what's going on. That's what's going on in the UK right now.
But the worst part is, and this is what scares me personally as a colored man, is because now we're seeing right-wing parties get in because of this immigration mess. But with them, there's this ignorance, and like, for example, I was in Austria not too long ago, but I had to go out of my way and present myself as hey, I'm not one of them migrants. Like, I'm from here.
I'm from here.
Even though, like, I don't look like you guys, like, believe me, I'm from here. and I didn't like that at all. I felt like I had to, like, I don't know. It just didn't make me feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's a kind of division.
Yeah, but now with the right wing in there, like, it makes me, like, really uncomfortable. I don't know how.
But what about the right wing on it?
Because of the ignorance of the voter. Like, like on policy, everything is fine, but it's just the ignorant voter that I'm scared of, because they're scared of me.
Yeah.
And I'm scared of them, and I don't think we'll ever like meet and like have a beer and like talk it out. I think we're too polarized to talk, and I think that's another issue that is wrong with America, the divide between left and right. It's so polarized that anyone who's in the middle is like. They're the new worm. Like, what do you mean you don't pick a side? What are you doing? You're either with us or you're with those weirdos.
Yeah.
It's sad. But let's Latin America before we get into the U.S. What does Latin America? It's left-leaning socialism in Latin America. What does that mean to you? And that's what we mean by left-leaning.
I mean, the socialism, like the suspension of the spreading of this ideology. I told you, is Castro.
Yeah.
In this century, and it's because they could infiltrate every space, like education, culture. Yeah. It's a. Socialism is a whole cultural movement. Mm-hmm. They appropriate the culture,
the music, the art,
the writing, the painting, everything. Everything works in favor of that, of socialism. So now in Latin America, I think that there is this hope on figures as Bukele, Milei, Maria Corina, but and that's why the Venezuelan case is so important, because if we conquer the Venezuelan liberty, like it's gonna be the start of the dismantlation of the other Cuba, Nicaragua, other systems.
If Venezuela flips.
It's Venezuela. We can get it. We can get it flipped. We can get it to the right democratic way.
Yeah.
That because where everyone wants to go to the democratic place. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to go to US, even if they hate it.
Yeah, I find that funny.
Everyone hates it, but everyone wants to go there, even to buy or to just go or whatever.
I have to ask though about Latin America becoming left wing or leaning to more towards Fidel and his wisdom. Mm-hmm. Is that because of all the foolishness the CIA was doing in the region back in the day? I have a whole list from 1954 Guatemala. Brazil 1964, overthrowing elected leaders, things like that, the death squads, all that stuff. And this is like decades of
interfering.
Of interference to benefit U.S. corporations in the name of democracy. Because as much as they were, quote unquote, fighting anti-communists, I think they were just using that as an excuse to like, okay, we're in there to fight anti-communists, but like, I like
but
these
if we
bananas.
but if we can get oil or if we can get anything.
Oh, hey, what about us?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's my view of why Latin America is turning socialist to go against capitalism.
I don't think
because of
that.
what the US is doing.
First of all, we don't understand our history well. Our history has been said in a wrong way. For example, Mexico right now is asking the king of Spain to give a certain of apologize for the colonization or the conquest of America process. So we don't understand what happened in our region. We never understand that Spain was an empire that replicate themselves here. I don't know about, of course, Cayman is other thing. It's
British, baby.
Yeah, British. So Spain is a completely different kind of empire that was the British. Spain, they built thousands of universities, thousands of roads. They respect the life of the Indian, the indigenous. They respect that. In Mexico, for example, the one who are asking for the apologize. In Mexico, in the 300 years of the being part called a virreinato, which is like a new kingdom. I mean, this is even the words has been changed so much that we were colony. We weren't a colony from Spain. We were part of the kingdom. So if you born in Cuba, you were Spanish. It's like if you born in Madrid. So
for example, just say, okay, Cayman, just an example. Cayman is a British overseas territory.
Yeah.
But there's that to it. It's not it's a part of England, but it's like the subcategory.
Yeah.
But are you saying like Mexico again in that time?
I'm talking about like
Yeah. But it wasn't like
Mexico wasn't a territory overseas from Spain.
It was a part of Spain.
It was a virreinato, which is a second kingdom, like a province. A province.
Yeah.
With
So like how Cuba has many islands that are not exactly connected to Cuba by land, but that's still a part of Cuba. Does that make
like the Isla de Pine Island?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Cuba we call it's an archipelago.
Archipelago.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is just land that isn't connected to the mainland, but it's still
still part of the That was okay. So Spain has this Nueva España, Rio La Plata. So the south, which is now Argentina, Bolivia, Chile. All of that was one kingdom. Then Mexico. And then where is Venezuela, Colombia, and this center part, another kingdom. Cuba was a general capitany. So all the continent, we are provinces. We are part of the empire. Right?
So like the United States of Spain.
So like they...
in a sense, you know.
Yeah. No, but there were four. So each four is like four United States. No?
I get you.
Okay. So in those, we start being Catholic. We start we went to the schools, universities. everything. Spain replicate themselves here. They did the same that they were doing
over there. Right.
We were not treated as a second class. We were part of them, and that's why so many people in Cuba still now are getting the citizenship from Spain, because we have great grandpa from the 19th century. So. Why this President Claudia now is asking for an apologize of the King Felipe VI? Because they're saying that in these 300 years of Spanish of being part of Spain, it was just 60%. I mean, the total percent of indigenous, it was the 60%. The 60% of Mexicans. They were not Mexicans yet. The 60% till 1821, I think it's 1821 when they started the independence. And they even speak other language, like the indigenous language. After the independence, till now, what is the percent of indigenous people? 7%. So you're telling me that the blame on the annihilation, extermination of the indigenous people is on Spain? No, it's on you. That you wanted, with your leaders, you want the indigenous people eradicated because you wanted everyone speaking Spanish.
I gotta ask, is this...
So, this is an example of we don't even understand from where we are coming from. And we then start thinking that we were, like this Mexican... I'm taking the Mexican example. We are start saying that we were so fine, so great before Spain. We were the best on everything, a great civilization, a great everything. And it's just Spain take our gold, and that's why we are poor, and that's why we have this anger and this poor mentality in our hearts and in our brains, and because that's what they taught in the school. That's what they said about our history.
Is this, and you explain this about Cuba? Is this like revisionist history? Like no. You don't need to know the facts. Like these are our this is our history.
This is the rhetoric is this one. So
to change the culture.
We have to change the culture, and that's why socialism is so successful,
because it comes from the cultural.
It comes from the cultural.
A grassroots
That's
evil.
That's what's going on now with all the feminists and all the LGBTQ community, and all this is cultural movements.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter.
All these cultural movements, but they start being appropriated of the life of the cultural life of the nation. For example, the destruction of the ordinary family.
Yeah.
How many marriage? How many people is getting married today? If we put it in a position like 30 years ago,
it's just a completely different time. Whoa. Yeah, a lot less. I'll say that.
Of course, it's a lot less.
And
and that's why.
And not only from marriage, but if you look at birth rates,
the abortion.
Yeah, birth rates and abortion are abortions are up and birth rates are down, and so it's just
So it's cultural. It's cultural. So who is the first supporter of the abortion and of the feminism and all of this destruction of the family?
Left-wing politics?
The left.
The left. Dang. Whoa. I need a second to digest all of that. How can one how do you? I see on your Instagram page you put Anti-Comunista in there,
Yeah.
and I take it you're very proud anti-communist. How do you fight the left? Do you fight them using the same methods they use?
No.
Using and I say maybe that was a little too vague. For example, if you look at America, let's look at U.S. media, just America. Majority of the TV stations are left leaning, right? Culturally, Hollywood, all the movies left leaning.
Yeah.
They're all coming from California,
Yeah.
a permanent blue state.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. Everything culturally is.
So
is
the fight now from for the people who strongly believe in freedom and in the right statements is to give this cultural fight. And that's what Milei did, for example, in Argentina. He went to all the media, started talking and saying facts that make him the president now.
So to challenge this ideology, you have to go to the source and fight it there.
Yeah.
So through media, through dialogue, through debate.
Totally.
That's
through
how
debate,
you
to media, to having podcasts like this one, to be able to speak and to be also is needed because you became kind of an inspiration of the truth of what we are saying here. Is facts, is the truth, and we need people who stand up and think and be willing to talk strongly. We be willing to talk strongly about things that matters to everyone. So yeah, the cultural battle is
but
what we need.
I'm glad
what I'm doing.
Yeah,
but I think
I think so. I think so too, because communism, leftism, socialism, this is not a race of people. This is not a country. It's an idea. That's it. It's in your mind. And the only way. And so, one thing I don't like about U.S. politics, like I am center right, but I don't like when people of left origins or even right origins like insult me, like, no, you need to be thinking like this, like, no, I'm fine.
No.
But I like that this can be defeated through debate rather than staying in our silos of ignorance.
Totally.
Yeah, and yeah, it's good that debate is the answer.
Debate is the answer, and
expression of ideas,
expression, and the freedom of speech.
What does censorship mean to you? Because it seems like growing up in Cuba, you didn't like freedom of speech wasn't free. It came with costs.
Yeah.
But now you're out of Cuba. How does that feel that you can express yourself as freely as you want?
As how I'm saying before, the only thing that communism that I can save from it is the level of value of the freedom that I have now, and how I understand that the freedom is not granted. It's not an heritage. You need to fight for maintaining every day. You need to fight for it every day, because any day can be gone. So censorship, I look so worried about. I'm very worried about all this left talking about how in social media it's like a hate speech.
What does hate speech mean to you?
Hate speech is when you don't accept the opinion of someone else and you try to disqualify him. When you don't accept the truth or one human truth.
Yeah.
You are telling me your truth or your view of the truth, and you are telling me in a way that I don't like, so I don't agree. I don't discuss with you, or I don't talk to you, or I can just block you, or I don't need to silence you.
I just call you hate speech.
No. No, I mean, when we say hate, what is like hate? It's like disqualify you personally because you are like, I don't know, not tall enough or not healthy, not fat enough or not skinny enough. I mean, that's what is hate, no? So that's your opinion. Why it needs to affect me?
It's interesting that we, again, going back to these silos, it seems like, let's say we're in a camp and someone outside is, for example, Cuba, right? Everyone is pro-Castro, but once...
Everyone no.
No, okay.
They have fear to say that they are against him.
So, publicly, because of the sphere, they are for Castro. Publicly. But privately, they may think otherwise. But if anyone dare, as if a young woman... in a university lecture just so happened to have the audacity to say, hey, life before Castro was actually better. It's almost like they have to throw all these labels at you to keep everyone, no.
Yeah.
She's a worm. You don't want to be a worm, rather than embracing your ideas and hearing them out. I think for anyone listening, if you were saying something and you're instantly insulted and people want to silence you, I think you're onto something. Because why? I think you're scaring, not so much scaring, but you're definitely challenging people's norms and people's worldviews. But I would encourage everybody to hear your fellow man out in full and not insult.
Exactly.
The insults. The one thing I cannot stand about American politics is the insults. Even though I laugh at them. Tampon Tim. That's hilarious. An 80-year-old man calling his political opponent a tampon. But that's for a comedy show. That's not good presidential decorum. But
I actually believe in the total freedom. Like you have the freedom to say whatever you like to say.
Yes.
Whatever. It's the other one who, I mean, whatever. I'm talking from the truth. And the other one is the one who needs to deal with it or not deal with it. Like Milei always talk about this, like his ideology is to defend the freedom of anyone without that freedom interferes in the life or the freedom of the collective.
Yeah.
So if what I'm saying is my truth and it doesn't affect your life, it's not a threat for your life, why I'm not gonna say it?
That's a fair point. One point I'd like to add is there is a musician in America called Daryl Davis who's a black man, and someone had made a racist remark to him once, and he was so fascinated because of this that he actually dedicated his time to meeting members of the Ku Klux Klan, a black man. He arranged interviews, met with them, had dinner with them, and over time, these Klans members would be like, "Man, like I was wrong. Like here's this guy I thought was the enemy. I think all these things about him negatively. No one's ever told me any better. But once you start to like meet and whatnot, you realize like, hey, he's not too bad. Maybe everything I've been taught is a lie. But that comes from dialogue and mutual respect and understanding.
Totally.
Not insults.
Totally.
And censorship and cancel culture and all this foolishness to quote unquote protect you. It's one thing
fact checkers.
Yeah, that's just, it's
gross.
One thing I wanted to ask you, one thing we're dealing with in Cayman locally is due to the high cost of living, high food prices, high land prices, all these things. There's a lot of people echoing like, oh, there should be price controls. And I understand where they're coming from. I don't think they understand
what they're asking for.
Like I get it, if we're getting price I think the failures of capitalism is what results to socialism, because it's like, see, they're price gouging us so much, there should be price controls, but then once the price controls come in, things get screwed up. Yeah, I think in our next election, which is next year, we're going to see a lot of left-wing rhetoric from like, well, there needs to be like minimum wage and there needs to be like price controls and rent controls and all these things. What can you say to the Caymanian out there who is liking the sound of these ideas, that they think that implementing these things like price controls will actually help them?
So I will tell them that I'm coming from the future. I'm coming from the future, and all this politics that looks so nice. Socialism sounds nice.
Sounds great.
Sounds great.
Especially on paper.
But at the end of the day, you will start being again a divided society, a divided class, because in all of this equality there will be just equality in poverty. That's the thing about socialism. So yeah, you will have the price control, but then what is your incentive to be more proactive or everything? So it's really hard for me to understand even the Caymanian way of life. Even I'm just 2 years here, and I can understand kind of the culture, but in terms of economic, for example, I don't understand actually now how the tax here function. For example, it's not the same as any other country.
Everything that comes in gets taxed. So it's not like you pay for a tax after, you pay it before. Right.
That's why it's so high, the prices.
So let's say this microphone. This microphone, it can cost, let's call it $10, right? And you pay your shipping, but then customs is like, that costs $10. Well, we want 22% of it on top of that. So you have to add $2.20. So now it's and that's, so we're not. It's not after, it's before.
It's before.
That's why they say we're not taxed, but it's just before.
We are as well.
Yeah.
It's not
But it's just because of the high cost of living, inflation, and all these issues like home ownership and whatnot that are making people concerned. And that's why people want these state protections like a minimum wage or a livable wage and price controls.
But the state in that case should be like just facilitate that the people can live normally. Like it shouldn't be like a control. When I hear the word control, there is something behind it.
Yeah.
It's something behind it.
I don't know how often you listen to public talk radio in Cayman, but a lot of the callers like, government needs to do this, government needs to do that. And for me, it's like, well, what about the citizens? I mean, we have the freedoms to correct some of these ourselves, but it seems though, and this is my big worry about Cayman society, it seems though people don't want to take the initiative. They just want government to do that. But you're giving government the same thing you're criticizing, more control over your life.
Yeah, and that's how it ends. It starts with the price control, or with the other that you were saying, the higher prices and inflation and everything. It starts with control on that, but then ends with the total control. And I know everyone, people always said about us Cuban that we are really paranoid and that we see communism everywhere. That's the comment. But that's how it starts. It starts in a democratic way. You elected. You vote for it. And you are convinced that it's going to be a good choice. And then is progressive. Even the word says itself.
It's
the progressive.
It's forward thinking.
It's
Get with the
progressive.
times.
Yeah.
You don't want to be conservative.
No.
That's so boring.
Boring and old and yeah.
So the issues we have with capitalism, you think can be defeated with more capitalism?
With more capitalism and with
more competition, I should
more
say.
competition
Market
and
competition.
and more let's say in the word more sexy.
Oh, right.
We need to the capitalism needs to look sexy. It cannot look old and conservative and it's all no.
Yeah.
No. Like capitalism is the hottest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to look like that. So all the right political commentators or whatever need to start being proactive in talking about how is the benefits and how important is to preserve the rights that the rule of law give to everyone.
Yes. So one issue people have with is rent, but it seems listening to you that if we build more units, then it will
Then it
lower
will
the
be then it will be a case that the landlords have a lot and
Yeah.
you can choose a lot of places to go. So you will choose the lower, and the market will establish as itself. The market will establish itself because with a lot of more things to choose, more offer, you will get to a point that I can go here and I can go the other one and I can go the other one. It's not like I depend just from one thing that is at this point. So yeah, that is a good way. Why more buildings? More money.
Yeah.
More employers. More employment.
Exactly. Well, Gigi, it is come to the end of the show.
I think I've talked so much.
Oh, we have. But you know what's funny? I have like 20 pages of like facts
my
and stuff,
God.
and I haven't gotten into it, which means there will be another interview.
Another episode.
But before we leave, I'd like for you to give some advice to anyone, just anything, your message. What is your message to the world?
My message is that we need, as individual, in any point of what you have done with your life, like what is your career or what is your ability in the world, we need to stand for that we consider is the right. And that we consider is the right and the truth and worthy of a fight, you need to fight for it. And that's how you do, even for a job or for any opportunity or for a cause, a political cause, or for anything. It's about losing fear. And that's why, because there was a point that I think people is having fear of saying even what they think about what they believe. Oh, I cannot say like I'm not feminist. Imagine if I say I'm not feminist, everyone is gonna say something about me, so I cannot say that. So losing that fear and fight for what you consider is the right, I think is is what's gonna save us of something so dark as socialism and communism, and what's gonna lead us to success in life.
Great. Thank you so much, and I look forward to the next time we speak again.
Thank you so much.
Got it?
I'm exhausted.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was great.
Oh my God, how long has it?
That's about 2 hours and about 45 minutes. I got it, actually.